I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. The Senate debate part 2 in Ohio between pro-democracy Democrat Tim Ryan and radical MAGA extremist JD Vance just completed, and this was incredibly embarrassing if your name is JD Vance, whereas Tim Ryan completely shined in this debate. We've got receipts, we got video from the debate, which we will share with you. So let's get right into it. And so one of the key moments from this debate is when the debate moderator brings up or brought up a statement that Tim Ryan made from the first debate, where Tim Ryan pointed out that Donald Trump says that JD Vance is an ass kisser and he kisses my ass and does what I say. And Trump made that statement at the fascist clown show rally that Trump held in Ohio, where when he called JD Vance up on stage, he also said, JD Vance is like Kim Jong-un. Everyone just kisses my ass now, and he kisses my ass. He used to not like me. Now I tell him what to do. And then JD Vance went up on stage and was like, isn't Donald Trump just the greatest for saying all of these things? And so Tim Ryan pointed it out and goes, this is not what Ohio stands for. Ohio needs an ass kicker, not an ass kisser. So the debate moderators asked JD Vance and basically said, so Tim Ryan said that you kiss Trump's ass. Can you name an issue that you disagree with? Here's what took place.
Mr. Vance, Congressman Ryan has called you Donald Trump's ass kisser. The implication being you will pay any price for the endorsement and support of the former president who publicly insulted you in Youngstown. To prove the congressman wrong and to show Ohio voters that you are your own man, I would like you to identify one issue that Mr. Trump is wrong about and therefore deserving of public criticism.
Well, look, I disagree with the president on a number of things. He's a friend of mine, of course, and I'm proud to have his endorsement. But look, the thing that was wrong about the Trump administration is they put a lot of people in the administration, a lot of bad personnel folks who actually advocated limitless, nonstop wars that would mean a lot of folks from Mahoning Valley and a lot of folks from where I grew up would have to go off and fight those wars. A guy like John Bolton, for example, should have never been national security advisor in the Trump administration. But let me address Tim Ryan's point and your question there. Donald Trump told a joke. He told a joke at a rally based on a false New York Times story, and Tim Ryan has decided to run his entire campaign on it. Now look, Tim Ryan is publicly out there on national television saying, I love Nancy Pelosi. A few months ago, he went before a national audience and said that he has to suck up and kiss up to Chuck Schumer. The guy who's subservient to the national party is Tim Ryan, who's been begging for these guys to come into this race and save him from the campaign that he's been running. So look, it's ridiculous for him to accuse me of being anything because he has utterly failed to be independent to represent this valley, and he will utterly fail to represent the people of Ohio if he's elected to the United States Senate.
So just so I get this straight, when the former president said, JD is kissing my ass because he wants my support, you took that as a joke?
I know the president very well, and absolutely, he was joking about a New York Times story. That's all he was doing. I didn't take offense to it. I talked to the president before it. I talked to the president afterwards. Everybody there took it as a joke. This guy goes on national TV and says, I love Nancy Pelosi, and has the audacity of accusing me of kissing anyone's rear end. It's pretty rich.
So literally, JD Vance cannot name a single issue, and in rebuttal, Tim Ryan points out, you were calling Trump America's Hitler, and then you kissed his ass, and then he endorsed you. And you know whose else ass you kiss? You also kiss Mitch McConnell's ass because he gave you $40 million, and Peter Thiel, who gave you $15 million, or however much Peter Thiel gave you. So you're beholden to these individuals to the tune of $55 million to them, and they want your loyalty. Watch this exchange between Tim Ryan and JD Vance.
I would like you to point to an issue that Speaker Pelosi has totally bungled and therefore deserves public repudiation.
Well, let me just first say that this is obviously a clip that JD is running to try to misrepresent people. I ran against Nancy Pelosi, JD, for leadership. And you have to have the courage to take on your own leaders. These leaders in D.C.
Why don't you vote against them?
They will eat you up like a chew toy, right? I mean, you were calling Trump America's Hitler. Then you kissed his ass.
Not true.
It is true. And then you kissed his ass, and then he endorsed you. And you said he's the greatest president of all time. Mitch McConnell gave you $40 million to prop up your campaign. Peter Thiel gave you $15 million. That's $55 million, JD. What do you think they want for that? They want your loyalty. And you proved that you'll kiss their ass too. And look, it's nothing personal. I'm just telling you, like, I've been in this business. It's tough business. If you think you're going to help Ohio, you're not. If you can't even stand up for yourself, how are you going to stand up for the people of the state? How are you going to take on the corporate interests? All the money you took are from the corporations who sent all our jobs overseas. Peter Thiel, $15 million, buddy. What do you think he wants?
Can you answer the question?
So notice how he didn't
answer the question.
And I said watch that exchange, but that was a Tim Ryan beatdown. Want to also show you a part of the debate where JD Vance was asked about what specific exceptions he supports with respect to abortion bans and the total abortion bans, which is what he actually supports. Remember, these people are all gaslighters. They go up, they try to lie. Thankfully, you got people on stage who the Democrats have nominated who are smart, intelligent, ass kickers who push back. And so let's watch the exchange right now where JD Vance is asked, what exceptions do you support? Play the clip.
That little girl was raped by an illegal immigrant, and both the media and Tim Ryan need to be honest about the fact that she would never have been raped in the first place if Tim Ryan had done his job on border security. So let's talk about the full picture and the full slate of exceptions, absolutely. But let's not let the Democrats off the hook for letting these career criminals into our state to prey on our little girls in the first place.
Well, what are the full slate of exceptions?
Look, there are a number of different exceptions here, and here's the thing that I want to say here is you cannot say with total confidence what every single exception in every single case is going to be. And let me offer just a specific example here. So I know a lot of pro-life people. I know people who have been pro-life since before I was born. One of the things they will tell you is they support an exception in the case of incest, for example. I've heard a number of pro-life people say that. But an incest exception looks different at 3 weeks of pregnancy versus 39 weeks of pregnancy. So I actually don't think that you can say on a debate stage every single thing that you're going to vote for when it comes to an abortion piece of legislation. What I am willing to do, and what I think is a lot more helpful for voters who are actually listening to this, is to say, number one, what are my principles? My principles here are I want to save as many lives as possible, and I'd love to get us to a country where young women don't feel pressured by boyfriends, by family to have abortions, where adoption services are available, and where young women can get access to the health care that they need to have babies. That's some of the principles that I really care about.
So just to be clear, he was asked what exceptions does he support to total abortion bans, and then basically said that he would not agree to any exceptions in cases of incest and basically supports no exceptions with incest. That's how he answered that question. One of the things that JD Vance continually tried to basically say, despite the fact that Tim Ryan actually ran against Nancy Pelosi's leadership within the Democratic House of Representatives, actually ran against her or did not support her leadership. I mean, whatever we want to say about Nancy Pelosi, the point is here, at least Tim Ryan stands with the true facts here that he did not even support her leadership there. And so here you have JD Vance trying to do the basic MAGA Republican talking point here, which is to say, you support Nancy Pelosi, you support Nancy Pelosi. And here Tim Ryan says, hey, JD, if you want to run against Nancy Pelosi, why don't you move back to San Francisco and run against Nancy Pelosi? Because JD Vance, carpetbagger, not a real person from Ohio. He is a San Francisco tech guy who sends jobs overseas with his buddy, Peter Thiel. Play the clip.
If you want to run against Nancy Pelosi, move back to San Francisco and run against Nancy Pelosi. You're running.
And then a great exchange in the debate took place where you had JD Vance continuing to lie, and he says one thing to his base, but then tries to go on these debates and lie. And then you had Tim Ryan say, you know what? My Italian grandmother had a saying for people like JD Vance. Let's play the clip.
My little Italian grandmother had a saying for this when she met somebody like JD Vance. Due facce. You have two faces. One for the camera and one for your business dealings.
So good. And then in the debate as well, you had JD Vance and Tim Ryan talked about Vance's support of the great replacement theory. And then Vance says, when the media and people like Tim Ryan accuse me of engaging in the great replacement theory, my biracial children get attacked. And then Ryan goes, I think I struck a nerve here. Play that clip.
We have eight. Hold on, JD. Stop interrupting me.
This is disgusting.
I'd like to get
here's
one more.
exactly what happens when the media and people like Tim Ryan accuse me of engaging in the great replacement theory. I'll tell you exactly what happens, Tim. What happens is that my own children, my biracial children, get attacked by scumbags online and in person because you are so desperate for political power that you'll accuse me, the father of 3 beautiful biracial babies, of engaging in racism. We are sick of it. You can believe in a border without being a racist. You can believe in the country without being a racist. And this just shows how desperate this guy is for political power. I know you've been in office for 20 years, Tim, and I know it's a sweet gig, but you're so desperate not to have a real job that you'll slander me and slander my family. It's disgraceful.
Thank you, Mr. Vance.
Hold on, Derek.
Real quick,
I think
we got to get one more question in.
I think I struck a nerve with this guy.
You absolutely struck a nerve. It's normal people, Tim Ryan,
JD,
when you insult their families, you strike a nerve with normal people.
I would never talk about your family, JD. I wasn't raised that way. I would never talk about your family. So don't try to spin this because you don't want to talk about the fact that you're with the extremists, and that belief, which is grounded, going back decades, led to some crazy dude getting a gun and going to a black grocery store.
It's disgusting, and I've never endorsed it. It's disgusting.
You talk about it, and you're running around. You're running around with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
To believe in a border, Tim Ryan thinks that you endorse the great replacement theory. It's unbelievable. This is what you do. You join Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, calling your own people racist for daring to believe in a border in their own country. This is the game that he plays.
All right,
I hope you feel better, JD.
Let's refocus.
And I thought one of the most powerful moments from the debate is where Tim Ryan pointed out that JD Vance has previously, very recently, supported Alex Jones. Alex Jones, who has ridiculed and defamed in the most heinous way and was found liable to the tune of nearly $1 billion, defamed the family members who lost loved ones at the Sandy Hook school shooting. Alex Jones defamed these people. Alex Jones encouraged supporters who took his words to do things like piss on the graves of victims because they believed they were crisis actors based on the defamation Alex Jones spewed, and people who were inspired by Alex Jones to dig up the graves of victims because they believed from Alex Jones they were crisis actors. I can think of nothing more sick and heinous and disgusting than what Alex Jones did with the family members of these victims who got killed in school shootings. And JD Vance runs around and supports Alex Jones, goes around and supports that rhetoric. And here you have an exchange that we're about to play where Tim Ryan says, you're supposed to be a senator. What in the world are you doing here? Going, reaching out and supporting Alex Jones. Then you had JD Vance say, I never said that. And then Tim Ryan said, oh, really? Within 30 minutes, we will get the tape and we will show that you did support Alex Jones. Well, we here at MeidasTouch, sorry, Tim Ryan, we had to beat you to it. We got that footage within 4 minutes of the debate, of the statement being made. We're going to play for you that clip right now of what Tim Ryan said first. Then we're going to show what JD Vance had actually said about Alex Jones with the tweet where he supports Alex Jones. And then we're going to show JD Vance's denial. Play the clip.
Those young, precious babies in Connecticut, he said it was a hoax. And he went on and said it was a hoax. And I've met these families from Sandy Hook. Absolutely devastated. You lose a fourth grader to a madman. And this guy says it was a hoax. Our guy JD says this is one of the most credible news sources in the whole country. And he just got convicted and he just got sued to the tune of billions of dollars that he owes the family for putting them through this grief. And I just want people to know, it's like, we are running for the United States Senate. This is the highest office you could get in this country except for president. And he's running around backing these extremists, the most extreme people in the country, a guy who denied Sandy Hook. He's like, he's credible.
Thank you, Congressman.
I mean, you don't have to, it's just...
Talk about, how I got in hot water with saying that Alex Jones was a more credible source of information than Rachel Maddow. But like one of the things that I saw in the reaction to that tweet was people are terrified of unconventional people, of people who don't think the thoughts that they're supposed to think. And that to me is like the opposite of what you would want in an elite. You would want an elite that's willing to think outside the box, that's willing to say, well, maybe this is like a crazy idea, but maybe it's true.
Tape, brother. You're on tape, man.
I never said that, Tim. Go and run the tape and find out exactly what I said.
It'll be like 30 minutes and we're all going to know you're lying.
I never said that.
And there you have it. It's the constant gaslighting, the constant lying. And JD Vance is exactly what Tim Ryan said that his Italian grandmother has an expression for, that he is a two-faced liar. He speaks out of both sides of his mouth. He's a liar, and he is clearly an ass kisser. You couldn't watch that debate and think that JD Vance is qualified and competent to hold that seat in the Senate, period. Tim Ryan is ready. Tim Ryan had an incredible debate performance over there and really, really one of the best debate performances. But JD Vance, just humiliating, embarrassing. Just think about some of these other MAGA extremist debates that we've seen. You got Herschel Walker, the MAGA extremist candidate in Georgia, literally pulling out a fake police department badge, a fake police officer badge, and pretending that he's a police officer during the debate. And then Herschel Walker not even showing up to the debate on Sunday against Warnock. What goes on over there? Who else we got? We got Mike Lee. I'll do a video on Mike Lee in this Evan McMullin debate. Mike Lee pulling out the Constitution as a prop after supporting insurrectionists and calling up Mark Meadows and trying to help come up with and lead a plan to elect fake electors. And as Evan McMullin said, is running as an independent but a pro-democracy candidate Democrats are supporting and Democrats support. Stop using that Constitution like a prop. I think that's the overall message here. Stop having these prop, fake, BS, lying, gaslighting, incompetent candidates, extremist, ridiculous candidates that are running. That's the new face of the Republican Party. I'm so glad we've got people like Tim Ryan and Warnock, and even people like Evan McMullin, who's running as an independent, but he's pro-democracy. I support someone who really fights for the Constitution, doesn't put up the Constitution as a prop in any event. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network with that debate recap, part 2 of the Ohio Senate debate between pro-democracy Tim Ryan and MAGA extremist JD Vance. Hit the subscribe button right now on our YouTube channel. It is free to subscribe, so if you haven't subscribed yet, join the MeidasTouch YouTube channel now. And if you want to help grow the MeidasTouch Media Network, here's what you can do. We are not funded by any outside investors at all, period. So So if you want to help grow this independent media network, here's what you can do, no matter where you are in the world. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and join one of the membership tiers there. Some of the membership tiers, you could become an honorary producer of the MeidasTouch podcast, and your name will appear at the end of the podcast, and you'll get a poster commemorating that you are an honorary producer. And other packages, you'll get postcards from me and the brothers, behind the scenes podcast footage, photographs, exclusive posts, and more. But to me, most importantly, if you want to help grow this network, that's one of the best ways that you can help grow this network, no matter where you are. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. By the way, this is my law office. Haven't been here in a while. I've been doing them during these video hits from my living room, but it's good to be back in downtown Los Angeles in my law office. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Until next time.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.